Welcome to Gamma Radio with your host, Gil Mancha. This is my chronological discussion of the strongest one there is, The Incredible Hulk. Disclaimer, I will be actively getting and collecting issues as we go, and I'm trying to only cover issues that I have a physical copy of or are in a collected edition. I'm going to try to stray away from digital because I love physical media, but the Marvel Unlimited app would be a great way to keep up with the podcast. We'll of course start with his original self-titled comic. There's a few others, some TV shows, movies, and even video games we can discuss. And trust me, I'd love to discuss the games down the line. Be sure to hit the follow button on Spotify or preferred platform to get episodes as soon as they drop. While you're there, please leave a review so the show can be recommended to other comic book fans. In today's episode, the issue we're covering is actually 3 different stories in one. The Incredible Hulk Volume 1, Issue 3, Banished to Outer Space, The Origin of the Hulk, and The Ringmaster. This issue was released on September 1st, 1962. Links will be in the podcast notes. Let's take a look back at what else was happening that day in history.
Duck can't cover, sports fans. He's hulking out.
The best-selling single in the US was Sheila by Tommy Roe, and in the UK was I Remember You by Frank Ifield. The top of the box office was The Music Man. Children and teens were watching shows like Dennis the Menace, Courageous Cat and Minute Mouse, King Leonardo and His Short Subjects, and Mr. Ed. If you're a child, you're likely to be playing with toys like basket, miniature basketball, the hula hoop, Play Pal dolls, and the Ken doll. Sheila by Tommy Roe is a re-recording of a bubblegum pop, rockabilly, rock and roll Lubbock song released in 1962. It hit number 1 on Australian, Canadian, and US charts, and in 1969 was presented by the Recording Industry Association of America with a gold record for over 1 million copies in accumulated sales. The song was originally called Frida, but while the record producer was enthusiastic, suggested he change the name. Tommy's aunt Sheila happened to be visiting and thus inspired what would become the song's name. The original version was recorded in 1960 with backing group The Satins, misspelled as Sheila, and backed by another original song, Pretty Girl, but failed to make any charting impact. The song would go on to be covered by a few artists and bands, most notably the Beatles, first in late 1962. Both versions are good songs. Before conducting research for this episode, I would not be able to guess which one would have done significantly better than the other. The 1962 version has more energy, so maybe that was a difference maker, but the 1960 version wasn't bad by any means. I Remember You by Frank Ifield is a 1962 yodeling country music style cover of a 1941 song written by Victor Schertzinger, lyrics by Johnny Mercer, and originally recorded by Jimmy Dorsey. Frank's version hit number 1 for the UK singles chart, selling 1.1 million copies and stayed at number 1 for 7 weeks. It also hit number 1 for the US Easy Listening chart. The song was covered by a few other artists like Bjork and George Michael, but interestingly enough, a recording of the song with new lyrics was used in a 1988 commercial for the Republican National Committee accompanying images of the 1979 oil crisis. The original version almost reminds me of Fly Me to the Moon, so the Ifield version, being more country influenced, is quite different. I do enjoy the usage of a harmonica, but the yodeling sometimes feels a bit silly. Between the 2 or 4 songs that we've covered today, if you count the original versions and recordings, I like the 1962 recording of Sheila the best. The Music Man is a 1962 American musical film directed and produced by Morton DaCosta, based on Meredith Willson's 1957 Broadway musical of the same name, which DaCosta also directed. Robert Preston reprises the title role from the stage version, starring alongside Shirley Jones, Buddy Hackett, Hermione Gingold, Ronnie Howard, and Paul Ford. IMDb states, traveling con artist Harold Hill targets the naive residents of a small town in 1910's Iowa by posing as a boys' band leader to raise money before he can skip town. In 1963, it won Best Musical Score from the Academy Awards, Best Motion Picture Musical by the Golden Globe Awards, and Best Written Music from the Writers Guild of America Awards. You can watch it for free on Tubi and with subscriptions on Hulu, Sling TV, and YouTube TV. You can buy it on Fandango at Home, Prime Video, YouTube, and Google Play Movies and TV. We've already covered Dennis the Menace alongside Courageous Cat and Minute Mouse, so since you're keeping up with the podcast, you already know all about them. King Leonard and His Short Subjects, also known as The King and Odie Show, is an American Saturday morning animated television series that aired on NBC from October 15th, 1960 to December 23rd, 1961. The original Short Subjects package last aired on the network on September 28th, 1963, when new segments of The King and Odie and The Hunter aired as part of Tennessee Tuxedo and His Tales. The show was initially sponsored by General Mills. The King and Odie ran for 104 episodes, The Hunter for 65, and Tutor Turtle for 39 episodes. King Leonardo and his assistant, Odie Coloni, battle against the evil influences of Itchy Brother and Biggie Rat. I didn't see any way to watch the show, but I did see clips on YouTube and Facebook. Mr. Ed is an American television sitcom produced by Filmways that aired in syndication from January 5th to July 2nd, 1961, and then on CBS from October 1st, 1961 to February 6, 1966. The show's title character is a talking horse which originally appeared in short stories by Walter R. Brooks. A horse is a horse, of course, and no one can talk to a horse, of course. That is, of course, unless the horse is the famous Mr. Ed. Said Mr. Ed shares his words of wisdom only with Wilbur, his hapless owner. I didn't see any official way to watch, but Dailymotion seemed to have at least the first episode in its entirety. Basket Miniature Basketball looks like a play doll version of basketball, but I'm not sure how it's actually played. We welcome people of all ages, so if you've played this as a youngster, I'd love to hear about it. The hula hoop is a toy hoop that is twirled around the waist, limbs, or neck. The Play Pal doll, aka Patty Play Pal, and also spelled as Patty Play Pal, was an American line of dolls created by both Neil Estern and Vincent DeFilippo. The main selling point of the dolls was their size. At 35 inches, they were marketed as companion dolls to children, and thus were able to share clothing and play with its owner as if it were a real child. The Ken doll, or Kenneth Sean Ken Carson Jr., is a fashion doll introduced by the American toy company Mattel in 1961 as a counterpart to Barbie, who had been introduced 2 years earlier. If you're familiar with either songs or top movie, let me know. On the Spotify app, there's now a comment section. You can do it there or social media. That's a taste of what the world was like when The Incredible Hulk issue 3 was released.
Ow, I hurt myself changing this tire.
I'm reading this thanks to Marvel Epic Collection, The Incredible Hulk Volume 1, Man or Monster, but it's also available via Marvel Masterworks, The Incredible Hulk Volume 1, and Mighty Marvel Masterworks, The Incredible Hulk Volume 1, The Green Goliath. All 3 stories were written by Stan Lee himself, penciled by Jack Kirby, inker Steve Ditko, letterer Artie Simek, and editor Stan Lee. On the cover below the title reads, "See the Hulk banished to outer space, trapped by the Ringmaster, and other thrills with the most exciting original character in comics." The cover also shows a spaceship about to launch in the background, while another craft has made a U-turn to chase the Hulk who's in the air, holding Rick Jones in one arm. Rick yells out, "I can't control him anymore, the Hulk has gone berserk!" One trooper is shooting at him, while another is pointing and looking toward the reader. "Look, nothing can stop him now, he can fly!" Unfortunately, there's no About This Issue section on the Marvel Unlimited app for this issue. After the break, we'll summarize the issue.
Let me guess. You thought I'd be bigger?
What it do, guys? Mandrame here, and if you like board games, especially deck building games, you should check out @Team_Thunder on YouTube. There we have unboxings and games of Legendary, a Marvel deck building game, the DC deck building game, the Transformers deck building game, and many more. That's also where you can find VODs for this, Accelerated Visions, a Spider-Man 2099 podcast, and Water Damage, an Aquaman podcast, where you can directly leave a comment and we can discuss the issues.
No, not the Hulk. Not now.
Part 1, Banished to Outer Space. In a cement-walled chamber beneath the sea, the most incredible creature on Earth pounds vainly against the walls of his prison, walls which were built to withstand the force of an atomic explosion. While outside the Hulk's cell, a tense teenager mutters a silent prayer, hoping against hope that Dr. Bruce Banner has built the chamber strong enough to keep the greatest menace Earth has ever known from escaping, as Rick is holding the mechanism to support it. Another few hours till daybreak, and then the Hulk will be changed back to Bruce Banner. It'll be safe for me to free him. And so the amazing drama takes place in that lovely cavern, hidden from eyes of men, as Rick Jones keeps his faithful vigil, knowing that behind the wall a human engine of destruction is quivering to break loose. We see an outside shot of the cavern from the water fish around, and we see the holding area where the Hulk is beating at the door while Rick is still holding the mechanism. Thank heaven, the walls are holding. The Hulk can't escape. Alone with his thoughts, the boy remembers the events of the past few hours. As he and Dr. Banner rush to the hidden cavern, the doctor says, "Hurry, Rick, it's growing dark. There isn't much time." A few steps behind, "I'm coming, Doc." Once they got to the cavern, just before the door closes on Banner. "We're just in time. Now remember, don't open this door until daybreak, no matter what." Rick responds, "But Doc, what if something happens to me? What if I get sick or something? What if I can't open the door in the morning?" Bruce turns his back to the teen as he walks further into the cavern. "It's a chance I have to take, Rick. Better for me to suffocate in there as Bruce Banner than to escape and menace the world as the Hulk." The massive concrete door closes behind Bruce Banner at the exact moment that evening begins on the surface. Then, just as it has happened so many times before, a starting change comes over the mild, scholarly scientist, and behold, the Hulk. Satisfied that the monstrous creature is safely imprisoned in his cell, Rick leaves the cavern as he heads for Bruce Banner's cottage and some much-needed sleep. Phew, I could sure use some shut-eye. But suddenly, he's surrounded by 4 troopers. "Hold on, son, you're Rick Jones, aren't you?" He replies, "Yeah, what's it to you, Napoleon?" The trooper holds a gun and answers, "Don't get smart, kid. We've been looking for you." Now we see several troopers with their weapons at ready. "Fingers over the trigger," he continues. "We've had this area under surveillance all day. We knew you were bound to show up sooner or later. And our orders from General Thunderbolt Ross are, bring in Rick Jones. The General knows you're the only one who can lead us to the Hulk." And at his headquarters, a few miles away, Thunderbolt Ross holds a dramatic staff meeting. "My men will find Rick Jones. You can count on it. And when they do, we'll get the Hulk. He won't escape us again, I swear it." Close up on his face, a finger pointed in the air. "And remember, when the boy's brought in, we begin Plan H. We'll force him to bring the Hulk to us." From off-screen, we see a voice. "Here he comes now, General." Ross turns his head to the door. It's Rick escorted by a trooper. "What's the big idea, General? I ain't done nothing." The General replies, "Jones, I'll get right to the point. You've got to bring the Hulk to us. There's no time to lose." "Cool it, mister. Nothing can make me rat on the Hulk." Ross tries to reason with the teen. "Look, son, this is bigger than you or me. This involves the security of the United States." We see outside there's a missile ready to launch, and the building they're in is far in the background. Out there on the launching pad is America's newest, most important missile. It must be tested, but there isn't a man living who could stand the force of its G-pull, except the Hulk. We want the Hulk to ride that rocket. In the interest of national security, no one else can do it. Now, what do you say? Rick stands there looking out the window at the rocket. A silence so thick that it can almost be cut descends upon the room, and the sullen teenager makes his decision. He thinks, "If it's something that our country needs, how can I refuse? I've got to bring the Hulk here, if I can." And so, a short time later, after convincing himself that the troops have not followed him, and that the secret of the hidden cavern will remain his secret, Rick Jones sets out to free the Hulk. He descends the stairs to the cavern. "I can't explain to them that I can't control the Hulk. When he gets free, who knows what he'll do?" Slowly, nervously, the teenager releases the mighty shaft which holds the concrete door in place. But before he finishes, the pounding, it's getting louder. With a surge of unbelievable power, the mightiest man-thing on Earth shatters the half-loosened door as he comes thundering out of his dungeon. He shatters the mighty shaft as he pushes the door. "I'm free." Once out of the dungeon, he turns his attention to Rick and chases him. "You boy! You locked me in this cell. You pay for that now." Rick makes a run for it. "If he gets a hold of me, I'm a goner." Outside the cavern, he says, "He's following me. Now if I can lead him to the missile." Lucky for me, the Hulk can't move too fast. Reaching the installation, the Hulk's shambling form is followed every step of the way by tight-lipped troops with weapons locked, his massive form lumbering forward like a dreadnought. The Hulk brushes aside obstacles which stand in his way as easily as a man might brush aside a fly. He casually punches a jeep. From inside an armored room, a trooper says, "General Ross, he's coming. The lad is leading him straight toward the missile," Ross adds. "So far, so good." Rick makes it to an elevator leading to the top of the missile. He starts going up, but Hulk grabs the bottom so the two ascend together. He's following me up the gantry. If I make one false move now, it'll be curtains for this cat. Once at the top, Rick gets far enough ahead of the Hulk so that he gets to the opening of the ship first. I'll leave my jacket here, then duck under the framework. The Hulk will think I'm in the cabin. He goes into hiding and sees the Hulk get to the cabin, grabbing the jacket and entering. It worked! I sure hope I did the right thing, betraying him this way. Watching this from a monitor, one trooper says, "The Hulk is in the capsule, sir." Ross raises his hand. "Condition green, closed capsule, prepare to launch." And in one lonely cabin, a thought begins to penetrate the Hulk's brooding brain. As the mighty creature realizes that he's been trapped, there's no time for action, no time for escape. Within seconds, the roaring missile is rocketing into the atmosphere, and then past the atmosphere, into endless space. While back at the control center, Ross rejoices. "We've done it! It worked! It's the end of the Hulk! He'll never return alive to menace the Earth again." Suddenly, as the speeding ship hurtles through the heavens, the cabin is bathed in a warm, bright light of the sunlight, the one element that brings the most astonishing change on Earth, the change of the Hulk. Back again to the form of Dr. Bruce Banner. Now transformed back into his human form, he's puzzled. Where am I? What happened? But before the dazed scientist can fully come to his senses, the unshielded ship enters a vast radiation belt. And once again, Bruce Banner's body is subject to those mysterious, powerful rays, about which so little is truly known. Rays of intense radiation, with the power to effect the most fantastic changes upon anything that lives. Rays which bathe Bruce Banner's body for seconds, which seem like a lifetime. And then, finally, the tiny capsule breaks through the radiation belt in its undiminishing race away from Earth. While thousands of feet below, a tense teenager scans the skies. As one nerve-wracking thought repeats and repeats in his brain, he thinks, "Did I do the right thing? What if I've doomed Dr. Banner?" Returning warily to Control Center, Rick Jones accidentally overhears General Ross talking to his men. "Well, we've done it. That's the end of the Hulk." The trooper responds, "Let's hope so, sir. For if he ever returns, he'll be so filled with fury that we'll never be able to stop him." Rick responds in the most eloquent way, "What?" Still having not noticed his presence, Ross responds, "Don't worry about the Hulk returning. That missile is on a flight to infinity, and it's a one-way journey." Realizing what's happened, Rick thinks, "It was a trap. They tricked me. It was the only way they could remove the menace of the Hulk." Seemingly later, Rick is at the controls and continues his thought out loud. "But I can't let them do it. They don't realize that he isn't really just an inhuman monster to be destroyed by any means, and I've got to save him. Here's the missile control panel. This is my chance. No one's looking." At that split second, as Rick Jones touches the control switch, an unbelievable amount of radiation which the ship has absorbed causes a shock to travel the many, many miles back to Earth. An electric shock which will link the Hulk and Rick Jones more closely together than ever before. Ow. Then, the deed is done, the shock is gone, and due to the switch being pulled, the rocket package drops away from the missile, and the capsule plummets back to Earth. Once it makes it back to the Earth, it launches a parachute, and Rick runs in its direction. "I've done it. I brought the missile back. The automatic chute is opening. But it's still falling too fast. It's daylight now, and Bruce Banner will be in the capsule instead of the Hulk. He'll never be able to survive a crash landing." It's too late. The capsule crashes down. Corner of the base first. Crash. He approaches the wreck. "I've killed him. I've killed the only real friend I've ever had. No human being could have lived through that crash. I've killed him." But at that moment, the Hulk bursts through the wrecked capsule. The Hulk? How? How? He cowers in front of the Hulk. It's impossible. You can't be the Hulk in daylight. You should have changed to Dr. Banner by now. What happened to you up there? Why are you glowing that way?" Hulk has a yellow aura around him. As effortlessly as a man could lift a cardboard box, the mighty Hulk lifts the wrecked space capsule and says, "Your fault. All your fault." Rick starts running away. "I've got to run. Gotta get away." Hulk throws the wreckage, hitting a wall and bounces off. Rick calls out, "He's more dangerous than ever now." Long, frantic moments later, Rick is climbing up trying to get away from the Hulk. I can run faster than him, but I'm getting tired." "The Hulk never gets tired. He can go on forever." The two reach the top of a cliff. "I'm sunk. No place else to run." Hulk gets to his face. "Now, revenge." He cowers. No! He looks up while cowering. "Stay back, please, stop." Huh? He stopped. He He relaxes a bit. He's standing still, motionless. I said stop, and he stopped. He circles around the Hulk. He's just standing there, almost like a robot, as though awaiting my next command. I've got to test this. Rick raises an arm. Your hand, Hulk. Raise your hand. Hulk raises the same arm. Now sit down. That's it. Sit. Hulk sits on the ground, not saying a word. From behind Hulk, he says, it's impossible, but it's true. He obeys me, my every command. Bend down now, Hulk. I need a lift down the mountain. That's it. Bend. He rides Hulk's shoulders as they go down. What could have caused it? Wait. I know. That shock when I pulled the switch. That was it. He gets off and the two walk together. Somehow, in some way I'll never understand, a current ran from the Hulk in the capsule to me down at the ground. Maybe it had something to do with the radiation belt up there, but whatever it was, it's made the Hulk my servant. I am his master, me, Rick Jones, master of the mightiest creature on Earth. The two make it back to Rick's cabin. But what about Dr. Banner? When will he change back to his true self? Or will he ever change back? There's my cabin. I've got to think this out. Gotta figure out what to do next. They go inside and he gets in bed. Hulk standing motionless in the corner. Stay there, Hulk, while I get some shut-eye. Don't move, understand? Don't move. But a few minutes later, Rick awakens with a start. I've heard something. Hey, the Hulk, he's gone. It was an easy matter for the boy to follow Hulk's trail. An awesome trail leading straight into town. There's a Hulk-shaped hole in a brick wall. My mind control over him must end when I fall asleep. He only obeys me when I'm awake. But now I've got to get to him before he runs amok. When he gets to the Hulk, he's picked up a power line pole and is swinging it with terrified people running away. I'm just in time. There he is. He's going on a rampage. He tries to get near the Hulk, but he swings the pole and hits a building. What'll I do? I can't get close enough to him. He can't hear me. And then the heavily armed state troopers appear on the scene, but even their automatic firearms cannot halt the mighty Hulk. Pow, 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 pow. The bullets hit the pole. We're forcing him back, another says. Yeah, but we're not hurting him. What happens when we're out of ammo? But the trooper's fire slows the Hulk up enough to give Rick a chance to leap into action. He jumps on the Hulk. Hulk, we've got to get out of here. Do you hear me? Get out of here, fast. Hulk responds, I hear. Gathering the awe-stricken lad in one massive arm, the Hulk leaps into the air, but it is a leap the like of which has never been seen before by mortal man. A leap which carries him over the top of the tallest building. A leap propelled by the most powerful muscles of any living thing on Earth. We're flying. Finally, miles away at the outskirts of town. Down. Go down, Hulk. That's it. Once they've landed, Rick puts his hand over his mouth in thought. He says, it's too much for me. I've got the most powerful thing in the world under my control, and I don't know what to do with it. But one thing I do know. I don't dare go to sleep again unless he's locked up in his dungeon. And so, at the command of the boy, the Hulk calmly enters the escape-proof cell which he himself had built when he was Dr. Bruce Banner. Hulk is back in the dungeon with Rick relieved. There, you'll be safe there, for a while, until I can figure out how to turn you back into Dr. Banner. That is, if I ever can. Slowly, ponderously, the massive door closes, as a thing which is the Hulk watches silently, with no trace of expression on his cold, unblinking eyes. Rick remarks, lucky I was able to replace this shattered steel ramrod. And through the long night, Rick Jones sits outside the concrete walls, still afraid to fall asleep, still not trusting the unimaginable strength which the Hulk possessed. Rick is sitting on the floor, back to the concrete door which Hulk is on the other side of, standing like a statue, still wondering as he waits. What will happen at that fateful moment when he can stay awake no longer? What will happen then?
One more!
As Rick Jones sits against the cold, dank wall, fighting back desperately to keep from falling asleep, his thoughts go racing back to the beginning, back to the origin of the Hulk. The story is Rick remembering the events which turned Dr. Banner into the Hulk, which you can go back to episode 1 if you want to hear that. We're skipping to the end when he's done remembering.
Gamma wave!
All this flashes through the weary teenager's memory as he sits against the dungeon door, frantically praying that he will stay awake, for if he should fall asleep, as he's starting to do now, his control over the creature behind the wall will end, and with the Hulk being more powerful than ever now, who knows the massive concrete door will hold. Bam, bam, bam.
One more!
Will the mighty Hulk be a match for the Ringmaster? We get a full page cut in two. 2/3 of the page has the Ringmaster in some sort of costume with boots and jacket that have stars on it, and his hat has a swirl. Behind him is a small man, a clown, a guy in a pink version of a devil-horned hat that one of the Toadmen had, a caveman, and a tall, slim Shady. On the right is an unrelated image of a statue like Hulk being led by Rick Jones by pointing. The Ringmaster says, "Nothing that lives can defy me, for I have the power to sap men's will. Soon all the world will pay homage to the Ringmaster." And now let us leave Rick Jones and turn our attention to a new menace which appears on the scene, a menace which the world has never known. It begins like this. You are gazing at the town of Plainville. A mere 24 hours ago it was a busy, bustling little city, but now nothing moves save two figures who cautiously drive through the strangely silent streets. There's trash everywhere. From the car we hear, "Our tip was right, Mike. This town is the same as the other two." The two get out of their car and see several unmoving people, mostly standing looking forward, but one with his head looking down and one sitting on the ground. Everyone motionless. If not for their heartbeats, you'd think they were dead. His accomplice replies, "So far we've been able to hush it up so the nation won't panic, but if we FBI men can't solve this thing soon, who can?" The blonde FBI agent wearing a green suit waves his hand in front of a frozen man's face. They're all the same, not a flicker of movement, not even an eyelid. It's as though everyone's been turned into a living statue. They go to a store. The clerk is there, motionless. Green suit looks at the cash register. As usual, the entire town's been ransacked. The black-haired blue suit man says, "You can say that again." The two go to the bank. The green suit says, "The bank's vault's been picked clean as a whistle. Whoever is responsible for this fantastic thing didn't miss a trick." Blue responds, "It's impossible. It defies all logic. How can anyone put an entire town under a spell and then rob them?" The two continue to search the town for clues. Green looks at a frozen woman. "If we only could find a clue, any little thing to go on." Blue grabs something off the wall of a building. "Wait a minute, Mike. Maybe there is something. Look at this." He shows Green a poster. Every town that's been hit so far has had the same circus poster displayed in the street. It's a slim lead, but we'd better check it out. Our scene changes as we visit the main tent of the Ringmaster Circus. We see a man with a fan next to a woman riding an elephant. A man with giant hands doing a cartwheel. Trapeze artist, a clown holding several balloons, a painted-faced man tipping his checkered hat, and the Ringmaster. He says, "Ladies and gentlemen, I, the Ringmaster, personally welcome you to the greatest show of all. Watch me closely every minute. Do not take your eyes off me for a second, and I guarantee that you will see wonders such as you have never seen before." Close up on his upper half. "You are about to witness our miraculous main attraction. Don't take your eyes off me for a minute. Watch, see, behold. Note the spinning lines on my hat, the stars on my jacket, the lines, the stars. See them spin, round and round. See them spin, spin." The crowd have blank looks on their faces. It's over. I have bent them to my will, just as I have done in those other towns we visited. They are all asleep. They cannot move nor speak. He points to his right, and the performers move. "Now go, my performers. Go and give another of your finest performances. What a pity none of them will be awake to applaud you." Minutes later, the Ringmaster's hirelings roam through the audience at will, looting and robbing their helpless victims. The clown grabs the cash and pocket watch off a man. "Hope you're enjoying the show, mister." But the Ringmaster is still not satisfied. He next goes through the town itself, casting his spell over the few inhabitants who were not at the circus, as his performers continue their looting. They make a human pyramid to receive various items from different windows of a building simultaneously. A woman in a fur coat riding a unicycle says, "You know, Bruto, this is almost too easy." Bruto seems like a strong man carrying a safe, but wearing at least 5 hats stacked on one another. "Just keep pedaling, doll." A large woman is wearing several necklaces, bracelets, and a tiara, while the horned man is by the window of a broken-into jewelry store. "Wait a minute, Tina. Here are some more bracelets and necklaces you can carry." The Ringmaster motions to the carriage. "All right, back to the caravan, all of you. There are many more towns for the Ringmaster to visit." A man loading the caravan says, "Pretty soon we're going to need a place like Fort Knox to store all this loot." And so, the strange carnival procession fades into the night, heading for its next destination, and leaving behind a town filled with inhabitants who are still under the Ringmaster's strange hypnotic spell. But what has all this to do with the Hulk? Well, let us see. The Hulk is still standing there motionless as Rick speaks. I did it. I managed to stay awake all night, so the Hulk didn't have a chance to run wild. He walks up to the Hulk. But what do I do now? I gotta find a place to get some food to wash up. The Hulk will be safe enough here, as long as I stay awake. Guess I'll visit my Aunt Polly. She doesn't live far from here. A short time later, a woman enters the room as Rick's washing his face at the sink. Land sakes, boy, it's been ages since I've seen you. Where have you been? He replies. Real busy, Aunt Polly. He turns to look at her, smiling. But you wouldn't be interested in the details. She frowns. Go along with you, Rick Jones. I certainly would be interested, but I know a body can't ever make you talk when you don't want to. After the teenager has eaten and chatted with his aunt, he decides to walk through town before returning to the Hulk. When he sees a line of people, he notices a poster. Hey, nothing I like better than a circus. And so, fate tightens her web. Evil leader starts his performance. I, the Ringmaster, personally welcome you to the greatest show of all. He puts on his signature hat. Remember, do not take your eyes off me for a second. Watch. Behold. It starts spinning. See them spin around and around and around. And this time, among his helpless victims, the Ringmaster unwittingly numbers one teenage boy, a boy who has the Hulk to command. Rick thinks, I can't move, can't speak, he's hypnotized us all. But Rick Jones is not helpless, not as long as he has the power to think. I'm beginning to feel numb, my brain is getting clouded. I've got to call the Hulk before I black out. Come to me, Hulk. Help, come, Hulk. But can he hear my thoughts from so far away? He must. And he does. We see the Hulk leaping to get to the lad. Boy in danger must go to him. Like a fantastic flying dreadnought, the massive creature hurtles through the air and plummets down toward the circus tent. Directed by Rick's thought waves, he crashes through the top. The Ringmaster responds, What is that? The guy operating the cannon says, Look, there's someone who the Ringmaster didn't hypnotize. The human cannonball is holding a sledgehammer and tells him, Just aim me towards him, pal. I'll take care of the big ox. He shot out of the cannon and goes to smash the Hulk. Cut to the human cannonball being hit, pow, and is shot upward beyond the tent. The Ringmaster orders one of his men, Quickly, the power hose. Nothing that lives can withstand its pressure. Come in, boss. And he blasts the Hulk with water, leaving him on the ground. The trapeze artists come with the net. He's stunned. Now's our chance. The Ringmaster's men bind the mighty Hulk, thinking they overpowered him. Little do they dream, he's simply motionless, waiting for the next command from his master, Rick Jones. They have him in chains and a gun pointed at him, believing this to be adequate. The man with the gun asks, Want me to finish him off, boss? He answers, No, I have a better idea. And as Rick Jones remains in a hypnotized state, neither conscious nor yet asleep, the Ringmaster's men carry the motionless Hulk to one of their circus wagons, and so the strange caravan leaves for the next town, little dreaming what an awesome engine of destruction are holding in their midst. And a day later, the Ringmaster prepares to open a new show in a new village with a startling new feature exhibit. He's got the Hulk chained up on a table next to a lion. The Ringmaster says, We'll bill him as a monster of the age. The suckers won't be able to resist coming to see the big ape. A conductor-looking man with a gun says, Ringmaster, you're a genius. And so the show begins, as the Ringmaster waits for the moment to cast a sinister, hypnotic spell. There's a guy doing a flip into a hula hoop and a clown holding a tiny umbrella. Ladies and gentlemen, when suddenly the two FBI agents from earlier arrive with Rick Jones. Blue says, Ringmaster, you're under arrest. This is the FBI. Green adds, We followed you from town to town and now we've got you. Your victims told us everything when we snapped them out of your spell. Rick chimes in, Never mind that. Where's the Hulk? You're traveling with a live bomb. At that very instant, at the sound of Rick's voice, the mightiest living thing on earth snaps his chains as a human would snap a toothpick. He is full of life again, and the carnival performers panic. Run! A man riding the elephant says, Don't worry, boss, I've got him trapped. The Ringmaster responds, Watch out, you fool, he's got superhuman power. But the Ringmaster's warning comes too late as the fantastic behemoth punches the elephant back against the teeterboard, upsetting the Ringmaster's armed cohorts, sending 6 men flying. FBI Blue is worried. The Hulk is spoiling everything. The Ringmaster will escape in all this confusion. Rick tries to defuse the situation. Wait, Don't draw your gun. I'll handle the Hulk. Just give me a chance. But the government agent's fear is realized as the Ringmaster is able to run off into the dark. Now's my chance to slip away. He gets to a chariot led by 2 horses and speeds away. By the time anyone knows what happened, I'll be in another town, in another disguise, and they'll never find me. But the fleeing fugitive has reckoned without the Hulk, now under the control of a vengeful Rick Jones. Hulk bursts out, I'll stop him. He approaches a trapeze artist structure. He's lifting the main support pole right onto the ground. It ain't possible. But almost any feat of strength is possible when the Hulk is performing it. He uses the support pole to stop and grab the Ringmaster off the chariot. Oof. He holds the Ringmaster up in the air. Help, save me, don't let him beat me. Rick pleads, Hulk, let him go, put him down. Despite his white-hot wrath, the Hulk has no choice but to obey the teenager who is his master. As heavily armed troops from the nearby command post burst in upon the scene. Led by General Ross, one troop says, on the double, men. Another responds, where is he? Where's the Hulk? Outside, they find the pair of Rick and Hulk and point their guns at them. Stand aside, boy. That creature must be stopped before it's too late. Rick responds while grabbing onto the Hulk. No, you can't. He ain't just a creature. I can't tell you what he is, but nobody's shooting him. Hulk chimes in. Arrgh. Now holding the Hulk, he tells him, up, Hulk, up, right through the tent. Hulk leaps into the air as one of the troops is dumbfounded. Look, he's flying. Nothing can stop him now. Now airborne Rick rejoices. You did it, Hulk. We're free. You're safe, but for how long? General Ross makes a fist and yells to the Hulk. You won't escape me forever. Do you hear me? Hulk, I'll track you down to the ends of the earth. I'll rid this world of your menace. No matter what. I swear it, Hulk. I swear it. As the Hulk is mid-leap toward the sunset, we get our last bit. And so our amazing saga comes to an end. But only for now. Soon the Hulk will strike again. But more of that in the next issue of The Incredible Hulk. Don't dare miss it. The end. After the break, we'll go over some thoughts and feelings about the issue.
What's happening to me?
My darling boy, my Bruce. Don't be afraid. Scientists aren't supposed to fear evolution.
I'll start by saying I am done with Hulk origin stories. Aside from issue 1 before we even hit the double digits, it's the equivalent of last time on Dragon Ball Z. It works for a weekly or monthly show because you might forget, but with a comic book you should still have the previous issue on hand, so if you forget you can just reference that. If they do that again in issue 4, I'll just skip that part for the podcast. If this were issue 400, I could forgive you for forgetting the origin story, but even then, a lot of Hulk's character is trying to fix what happened that fateful day, so it's kind of intrinsic to the character, like Batman. Everyone knows that Batman's parents were murdered in front of him, and that trauma would become Batman. I'm willing to bet less people were aware of origin stories of, say, Hawkeye or Blue Beetle. I think even more casual Incredible Hulk fans have heard of Planet Hulk, where the Hulk is sent off planet because of how dangerous he is. Turns out, it's not the first time this was tried. And in this case, it was the military that did it. It's amazing how patriotic Rick Jones is. He unknowingly betrayed the Hulk for the best interest of the country. He says he won't rat out the Hulk, but if it's for America, well, Hulk will probably be fine. That's the reason he was told, anyway. Hulk doesn't seem to have any super speed since Rick's able to run away from him and lead him to the ship. He's got strength and durability, sure. Following the mysterious radiation being absorbed and the link he got to the boy, Hulk can now be controlled by Rick while he's awake. The moment the psychic link is severed, Hulk is back to his dangerous, destructive self. On a positive note, he has the giant leap now, which has become a big part of his set of powers, notably seen in 2003's Hulk and in the MCU. That's what the soldier on the cover meant when he said, look, nothing can stop him now, he can fly. In fact, that leap is some of my favorite parts of the games and even his appearance in Marvel Rivals. Going to the Ringmaster story, as the agents are investigating towns where people have been hypnotized, they could have been that way for days. But when it happened to Rick, he was able to break out and alert those agents. The agent said Rick informed them when he snapped out of the spell, but didn't explain how, and Rick literally said, never mind that, and the conversation never went back to that topic. Aside from robbing towns, destroying property, while people were hypnotized, they were living statues so they couldn't eat. That means they could have straight up died, but we don't go into how terrible it could actually have been. What do you think? Did you read the comic? Did I get something wrong? If I do and you guys let me know, I'll include a correction section in the next episode and I'll credit the user. Let's continue the discussion on social media and the YouTube VOD. You can find me at Mandrame Thunder on Twitter and at Team_Thunder on YouTube. If you're looking for another podcast to listen to and you're a Spider-Verse fan, then check out Accelerated Visions, a Spider-Man 2099 podcast on Spotify, Apple Music, and anywhere you can find podcasts. If DC is more your thing and you want to hear more about Aquaman, King of the Seven Seas, check out Water Damage, an Aquaman podcast on Spotify, Apple Music, and anywhere you can find podcasts. Be sure to follow that and this podcast to get episodes as soon as they drop. Mandrame out.
What time up mean?